Hello, we'll get started in just a minute. Wait for people to join after a minute or two. Thank you for joining. We're going to begin in a minute or so after we've given people the time to join. Hello, we're just waiting for people to join, giving them another 45 seconds or so. We'll get started very soon. Okay, it's 2 minutes after. We're going to get started. Today's presentation from Anaplan is going to focus on supply planning solutions from Anaplan. Thank you for attending. There'll be information for you to contact us or follow up if you have further questions. During the presentation, if you want to drop questions in the Q&A, I'll do my best to answer them as we go through the presentation. Any questions we are unable to answer, we will follow up with you. But please note there's a Q&A and a chat, so please use the question and answer section. For those of you not familiar with Anaplan, we were founded in 2008. Company entered the supply chain planning market several years ago, and currently we have over 2,000 customers across 56 countries worldwide. They span numerous verticals, industries ranging from high-tech, consumer goods, financial services, healthcare, manufacturing, among many others. And we're proud to state that half of the Fortune 50 are proud Anaplan customers. 68% of Anaplan customers leverage the platform for multiple use cases. We also have a growing global partner ecosystem with more than 200 partners, from the big GSIs like Deloitte, Accenture, KPMG, to regional partners with geographic line of business and industry focus. And technology partnerships, which we're growing with Google and Amazon, for example, also Coupa, but with Google and Amazon, they're not only partners from providing cloud services for our customers, they also have integrated technology into our platform. So we leverage Amazon Forecast as part of our demand management solution. And with Google, we're working on an approach to digital twin. So there's more information on those topics on our webpage if you're interested. Anaplan is connected planning. Our technology connects people, systems, and data to provide business leaders in not only supply chain, but sales and marketing, finance, and HR for workforce planning, for example, with the collaboration and visibility needed to improve planning and decision-making. The recent past has proved that it's no longer optional to connect plans across organizations, and companies that did not have adequate processes and technology in place to do so had more difficulty being resilient. So we've been helping enterprise companies like the Global 2000 break down the planning silos between functions by connecting financial, strategic, and operational plans in real time to better orchestrate business performance enterprise-wide. More specific to planning supply, planning leaders are faced with a wide range of challenges which have been compounded by many factors over the past few years. Even prior to the pandemic, supply disruptions were hitting the news, weather-related, geopolitical-related, and so on. Some of that is playing out in real time today, with Apple taking a close look at suppliers based in China and a variety of industries scrambling for alternatives based on the extended conflict in Ukraine. Many of our supply chain customers signed up with Anaplan to move away from managing planning in spreadsheets or aging legacy systems. We hear the story over and over in our sales cycles. We can't seem to find the time or the data to focus on the core problems causing us to miss targets. Anaplan supply chain solutions cover the range of planning challenges from managing demand to planning supply and procurement, and balancing both in S&OP or integrated business planning processes. Following today's demonstration, you can also access live demo events we've done to more specifically look at Anaplan for integrated business planning and demand management. These are available through our website. Within supply planning, planners tackle a range of processes, finding the right supply plan for variable demand, for example. There's another webinar available on our website focused on probabilistic planning. There's an introduction to the topic in the webinar by Amber Sally, the primary analyst for supply chain planning at Gartner, as well as the software demonstration for what you would do in a probabilistic planning scenario. Other customers focus on inventory management challenges, typical material and capacity planning challenges, like generating a constrained and unconstrained plan, optimizing supply challenges, generating a rough cut capacity and material plan, and even production schedules. Anaplan is powered by Hyperblock, a proprietary technology which allows our software to quickly process multiple scenarios on massive data sets to help you make decisions faster. As we'd seen earlier, the Anaplan platform supports secure collaboration within the organization or in a multi-tier, multi-enterprise environment to help achieve problem resolution quicker. 3 examples of customers using supply planning are listed here. As you read through their scope of use and results, I'll just point out that you see these customers each are using Anaplan in different planning challenges. The one consistent thing is they all have supply planning in place to do specific things for them. It's very typical for an Anaplan customer to focus on one particular challenge and then expand their use organically based on the need for connecting plans. Toward the bottom, you see a set of honeycombs. This is very standard operating procedure for Anaplan customers to map out their journey with Anaplan through these honeycombs to focus on this supply planning problems that they have and some of the root causes of planning in other areas of the business. And finally, before we get to the demonstration, which will be led by Ken, who's in our solutions consulting group, we're proud to announce that in Gartner's latest supply chain planning solutions Magic Quadrant, Gartner recognized Anaplan as a leader solving the problems we highlighted earlier, like helping customers manage complexity, execute and respond rapidly through empowered planners. The criteria for being a leader include 4 high-level capabilities. Number 1, depth of demand planning. 2, depth of supply planning. 3, the ability to plan end-to-end from your customers to your suppliers across multiple time horizons. And new this year, the ability to support financial impact analysis and financial planning, which is inherent in Anaplan's DNA, as we've been doing financial planning for over 15 years. With that, I'm going to hand off to Ken. He will share his screen for the demonstration. Again, thank you for coming. I will answer questions if you put them in the chat, and we'll have a couple of closing slides when Ken is done. Thank you. Take it away, Ken.
Thanks, Tom. So while I set up my screen share here, I am going to go off video just so I preserve my bandwidth. But I'm really excited to speak with you guys today about Anaplan and our supply chain planning capabilities. But before I start with our supply chain planning capabilities, I want to level set the audience on what Anaplan is, because I realize there are some varying experience or exposure to Anaplan. Some of you may have a lot, some of you may have none at all. So Anaplan is a cloud-native connected planning and analysis platform that allows firms to plan across the entire organization. So within our singular no-code platform, we're able to perform sales types of planning, for example, territory and quota management, incentive compensation management, human resources type of planning, marketing, supply chain, which we'll talk about in more depth here in a moment. And our heritage really goes back to finance. And so we're able to plan at very high levels within your firm, but also get into some more specific use cases, which we'll talk about here in a moment. So what I'm going to cover today is really just a little bit about this connected planning platform and how it is a key differentiator of our solution. Then we'll move into sales and operations planning, where I'll show you some different workflow capabilities that are native to the platform, some dashboards and how visually intuitive they are for planners to work with using our alert and exception-based management philosophy. Then we'll move into the supply planning use case, talk about things like capacity planning, linear programming optimization, which is embedded within the platform, inventory management, production schedules. Then we'll get into direct material sourcing, supplier collaboration. And it's really awesome within Anaplan platform how you can not only collaborate internally, so sales folks can collaborate with supply chain folks, can collaborate with finance, but because it is a cloud-based platform, we can seamlessly interact with our customers or even our suppliers. And then I'll show you some management reporting capabilities as well. But going back to this, so this is, again, a cloud-native planning and analysis platform. And oftentimes when I show the platform and we start to get into some of the data that's coming in, customers often ask, well, how does that actually get into the platform? And so what we typically do, and if you're interested, after the presentation, we show some demonstrations, but we also give a technical architecture overview that talks about how we actually ingest your data into the platform for the purposes of planning and analysis. And most recently, I did this with a customer who had asked, and after we spent 25 minutes, the customer was like, oh, I get it. This is what you guys do for a living. But rest assured, we can take your data from any source, whether it be your ERP system, Salesforce, what have you, and bring it into the platform for the purposes of planning across your organization. So check, we do this every day, not a big deal. Because it is cloud native, it is scalable, it's flexible, it's secure. We've harnessed the power of modern day technology, and that's what the platform is based on. It's also codeless modeling, and I'll show you what this means in a minute, but it's a no-code platform. It's very easy and simple to use. You don't need to be have advanced degrees or work in backgrounds, coding and all that kind of stuff. It's very easy to use. If you can use Excel, you can pick up Anaplan. It's also fully configurable. So as we go through the presentation today, excuse my screen there, you'll see that we've got some different ways to configure the solution based on what role you may have or what type of planning we're doing. So again, it is a single platform, but it's configured for the purposes of what planning you'll be doing in different areas of your firm. Also, too, intelligence is embedded within the platform. So things like statistical forecasting, no problem. Linear programming optimization powered by Gurobi, no problem. And then also we're able to do artificial intelligence and machine learning forecasting with our partnerships through our partnerships with AWS or maybe even Google. And because it is a true platform, we can ingest third-party types of AI ML forecasts, maybe things your own data scientist teams are doing as well. And then, of course, a lot of add-ons. So with DocuSign, a Tableau, if you're a Tableau user, Microsoft Power BI. Basically, the bottom line is that Anaplan is truly a modern-day planning and analysis platform that's going to help you make faster decisions, seize opportunities, and actually deliver results for your business. With that being said, this is my main connected planning platform page. But if I wanted to get into sales and operations planning, all I've got to do is click my link, and it brings me up here to my sales and operations planning dashboard. And a couple of things to note right away. It's super visual. So I can see things like, what my progress is in this particular S&OP planning cycle. If I wanted to see, what was going on in April, I can see that's complete. And I can also see the different, relevant information, like what we arrived on from a consensus plan, what the stat forecast was, different, customer inputs, the customer forecast, or what the sales forecast was, so on and so forth, right here on my dashboard. But let's go back to this plan that was in progress, because this workflow alert over here concerns me. So if I go into the workflow alert as the S&OP process owner, I can see that I've got 15 overdue alerts, and we make it very simple, right? Big red signal letting me know there's some problems here I need to address. And as I come down here, I can see which steps are complete. I can see which ones are in progress, if they've even been started or not. And if there is some tardiness going on here, I can see how many days late. Now, this example of workflow is being driven off of the date here, but we'll show you some other examples as we go through the presentation today as well. Now, if you are behind, like the sales manager is over here, within the platform, I can either notify you with a message, it can go to your inbox, or you can be alerted when you log into the Anaplan platform and say, hey, okay, there's an alert that I need to address, and I can fix that. So this, in my opinion, having worked in this process before, is a lot easier than trying to send emails, pick up the telephone, walk down the hall. We can do everything and communicate right within the platform. So let's go back to our landing page. We're going to take care of that. And since we're really here today to talk about supply chain planning, let's go in and see what that's got in store for us. So if I look at my supply review dashboard, we're bringing in everything that you might want to look at as a supply planner. So what's going on with my inventory here. So I've got some different alerts. I can see how much demand I'm able to fulfill, which we'll get into that in a minute. And also some different alerts by distribution center. We'll be able to look at our capacity by facility, and we'll also be able to see what's going on from a sourcing perspective with our suppliers. Now these capacity alerts concern me quite a bit. So I'm just going to go into these real quick. And again, as a planner who's coming into this visual intuitive dashboard, I'm going to see that I've got 11 capacity alerts here, right? Again, no disputing this. It's sticking out right in front of my face. I'm way over capacity. I'm not able to fulfill my demand. We saw that on the previous page. And I can see a few, key pieces of information. So I can see what that rough cut capacity plan is and all the different inputs that are important to me from this perspective. So things like contract manufacturing hours, the capacity, pre-builds, so on and so forth. I'm also able to pull in and bring in my unconstrained demand, my constrained demand, and see the difference between the two plans from a revenue perspective, a cost of goods sold, margin perspective, so on and so forth. And again, this is configured based on the needs of your specific firm. So I'm showing you an example, but this is all information we would be pulling in from your ERP system and other source systems that would help you make the appropriate decisions here. Now, I mentioned that we've got some linear optimization programming in the background. And based on the different constraints that I've got here as a planner, I don't need to download information into Excel or an Access database and try to figure out what the heck is going on. I can leverage the information right within my platform. And I can say, you know what if I want to pre-build? What does that look like? I check a box, simple as that. And I can see that I've addressed 6 of those alerts, but I'm still way over capacity. Here's the impact to my margin, and I'm still only able to fulfill 43% of my demand. All right, so maybe that's an option, but probably not the one I want. So if I want to see, hey, what if I choose contract manufacturing? Oh, well, that's great. This resolves my problem. I've cleared all my alerts. I'm still, up there at max capacity. It's something I might want to work through, but I can fulfill this demand and I can see the hit on my margin. So that's one example of some linear programming optimization where instead of having to do all of this in an Excel spreadsheet and try to, maybe have some errors going on and do a lot of data manipulation, I can leverage the power of linear programming optimization to help me, overcome my capacity challenges. I'm going to go into a more specific supply planning view here for a moment. And so as a supply planner, outside of the S&OP process, I probably need to do some more deep dive within supply planning. So all the things that involve sourcing, making, and delivering the products to my customers. So from this dashboard here, I can see my procurement summary. I can see what's going on in production, plant utilization, and also my inventory projections. And that's where I want to dig in a little bit deeper here. So if I go into my inventory policy, within the platform, I can pull in critical information like, how much inventory I've got at my local distribution center, how much I've got at my regional distribution center. And I can also set my service level goals by, product mix, whether it be my ABC items, different service level goals here, different weeks of supply targets. This is kind of like my inventory management master settings that I can input and have ripple throughout the rest of the model. If I wanted to make a change from, say, forward weeks of supply to target reorder point, that information is going to do some fast calculations using that hyperblock calculation methodology Tom mentioned. And I can see the impact now on what that does from a local perspective and also a regional perspective. So I'm going to dig in a little bit more to this bit of information. And again, I can come in here and see for this particular time period, for this particular item. And we can drill up and down your hierarchy. So to get very macro level views or very micro level views. But with this particular item, I can see that I've got some on-hand inventory here. I can see what my weeks of supply associated with these items are. Heck, I'm turning this item super fast. The system alerts me to this if there was any confusion about that. And we can configure the solution to help your planners with some pre-built options. Maybe you want to place a new order. Maybe you review this and there's nothing that can be done. So you kind of track that through the system. But for this one, I want to go ahead and expedite that order. And I'm going to go ahead and override the quantity here and track this throughout the system. We can flip, see what's going on. This is Denver, but if I wanted to see what was going on in the Atlanta facility, I just double click on that particular facility and I can see the finished good alerts that I've got going on there. And I can work through these and continue resolving the process. A couple other things to note, though. Again, you can do the work in traditional spreadsheets that you're typically used to, but with Anaplan, we're able to visualize the information in a variety of different charts. So, column charts. We got a scatter plot diagram going on down here, and even some bubble charts that let me know, some propensity of a particular item or not. Continuing on through my workflow here, this guided process that's helping me resolve these challenges, I can see what my, again, reorder policy is, what my safety stock for this particular item is at this particular facility, what the trends are, right? So we're going to bring in actual information and we can calculate things like your, on time in full %, what the average lead time has been for this particular product that you're getting from your supplier. And as I scroll down here, I can see my, beginning inventories, my demand adjustments, demands, things of that nature. And as I flip back to my Denver facility, I can see that I've got this huge demand spike in week 3 of July. So I probably want to go in and see how what impact this has on my ordering. And I can see that my order is definitely not level, right? So I need to take some action as a planner to resolve that. And as I look at, what's going on with my inventory beginning, ending, what the demand spike is, I have the opportunity to come down here and maybe do a little override for the weeks of supply and resolve that from an order leveling perspective. So, all right, I continue working through my challenges and I'm coming up with a better plan. Let's go back to the main dashboard real quick. And then from here, there's two other things I want to show you within this particular module. Again, if I come back to our linear programming optimization for a second, we're able to take all of the different constraints that you might find within your business and feed these in to the Anaplan model for the purposes of planning. But we can also leverage this information like, plant capacities, DC capacities, so on and so forth within the linear programming model. So as I come into my network and I see, oh my goodness, I have some supply demand gaps that are, highlighted here in red that are really glaring. And I'm going to work through all of these later today, but since we have a short time together, I'm going to focus in on the China over here, right? So I can see what my shortage is. I can see that I've got some plant capacity available over here in Site 5. I've got some distribution capacity over here in Sacramento and West Berlin. So I wonder, again, using this linear programming, if I move some product through my APAC region and I run this linear programming optimization here, is that going to resolve this problem or what impact does it have on me? So in fact, it is going to solve this particular problem here, as I can see. But, one of the key differentiators with the Anaplan platform is that it's going to tell me, what the costs involved are, because we do have a heritage within finance, unlike a lot of supply chain solutions out there that can give you the units, that can identify gaps. We ingest all the financial information so that you understand the financial impact to your decisions within your firm. So something I wanted to highlight real quick. We've also got one other thing too here about production scheduling. So if you wanted to come up with your, procurement plan and kind of see what that looks like within supply planning, that's something we can do as well. Going to move over to direct material sourcing real quick. So demand planning, we kind of Tom talked about that in the beginning, something Anaplan is really, really good at. And so we're able to create a forecast for your different items at different levels of the hierarchy. And with our, artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms that we can ingest, we can start to bring that information in too. And the one point about being a no-code platform, I want to point out is if I look down here at my final demand forecast, let's say I'm unfamiliar with Anaplan, or I just forgot what this calculation was, because there are a lot of them. I can drill down on these calculations, and I want to make a point here. The formula for this particular calculation is my historical forecast plus my demand adjustment. That's how we write formulas within Anaplan, right? And this is a very stylized example. Of course, the formulas get much more complex, but we're using your business terms and logics to create formulas within the Anaplan platform for the purposes of calculating things like that. In my opinion, this is a whole heck of a lot easier than if you're using Excel and trying to understand what information is in cell A1 plus B1, for example. We put it in your plain language for you to make it super easy. All right. So again, as I guide myself through my workflow, I've got my demand plan in place. I can see what my supply plan is. We've talked about finished goods up until this point, but I think it's worth noting that, again, because of our patented hyperblock calculation engine, we just don't calculate things at high levels. We can get down to the bond levels too. So like things like subcomponents, or even further down if you need to look at information like that. And you can collaborate, I alluded to earlier, with your suppliers right within Anaplan platform, right? So you don't need to send emails or PowerPoint documents or Excel spreadsheets, or even communicate through some other supplier portal that you've got. Within the Anaplan platform, your suppliers could have some licenses which they could come in and interact with, right? So in this particular case, supplier one, there's a product that needs updating, and I'm looking at this particular dashboard from the lens of my supplier. So this is what they would see. So they come in and see they've got a certain product to update. They're going to go ahead and update that capacity. We'll update the order entry real quick, and then we'll go ahead and submit that capacity and take care of that problem. And so as a supplier working in the platform, I can say, all right, go ahead, I've taken care of this. That comment then would register to the appropriate person at my firm, and I would get an alert letting me know, and or an email, right? So several different ways we can communicate within the platform. One last thing I want to show you, as we're running kind of short here on time, is our supplier collaboration capabilities. And this is just one of many capabilities that we've got within our supply chain planning solution platform here. But a couple of things to note. I know one thing that a lot of folks have some challenges with is really getting information about my purchase orders and purchase requests. I remember working in industry for many years ago and trying to download all the information out of SQL and put it together in Excel to find out where my purchase orders were. One of the beautiful things about Anaplan is, again, because we're a platform, we're ingesting that information, performing the calculations, so that as a user, all I got to do is come in and I can use this information to make decisions. So whether it be purchase requests, purchase orders, again, communicating with your supplier, you get right within the platform and do all the work that you need to do and get out of that messy middle that I alluded to as well before. Supplier performance management, you're trying to grade your suppliers, you're trying to monitor their performance. Again, something that we do very well within the Anaplan platform. Also supplier scoring and performance. And from this lens, your firm can see what's going on from a supplier perspective, but the suppliers can also, again, have access to this information set up based on roles, responsibilities, security. So they would only have access to their information and see like what's going on with the business. So again, you can collaborate back and forth in real time. But this is kind of like a demo trailer. So if you want to see the rest of the movie, Tom's going to talk about some ways where you can get in contact with us or your requisite folks within the field and have some deeper conversations about the, some of the different, more deep capabilities that we've got within the Anaplan platform for in general or for supply chain planning specifically. Thanks, Tom.
Great, Ken. Thank you very much. A couple of questions here. There was one question asking if Anaplan has customers that have implemented supply planning in the context of a SIOP or DDMRP environment. SIOP, sales inventory and operations planning. Yes, I know two instances off the top of my head. There's an automotive parts manufacturer that's using that in conjunction with their distributors and several consumer goods companies. And similar story for DDMRP, which is demand-driven MRP, if you're not familiar with that. Somewhat of a philosophy, I think, for managing production and distribution in conjunction. So from that standpoint, we do have customers in both cases that are doing it. Strangely, with the DDMRP, it seems to be concentrated in Europe for some reason. That might just be the way that the dominoes fell. The second question is related to implementation timelines. Can you address the typical implementation timelines that customers see with Anaplan?
Yeah, that's a great question, Tom. And I think it's one that's hard to say, hey, it's going to take X amount of weeks to implement a specific use case. It would almost be like saying, hey, Ken, how long does it take to get from Seattle to San Diego? And I'd have to ask clarifying questions, right? Like, are we taking a bus? Are we flying? Am I walking there? So the point of that is, because it is cloud native, we deploy much faster than your typical legacy solutions. But one of the key methods to come up with that is having a scoping meeting prior to implementation, so we can understand your specific needs, your timelines, and really put together a thoughtful plan to deliver our projects on time. That being said, Tom did share some specific customers with you, and I can say that one of those implemented their demand planning in as little as 8 weeks. We've had other customers that have implemented a specific use case in 13. Those are fast, and I wouldn't necessarily say the typical, but again, because it is a cloud native scalable platform, typical implementation times are much faster than what you may be used to in the market.
Thanks, Ken. And I think just to reinforce what Ken said, if I do a view of our customer data, look across implementation timelines, fairly high level, you can't understand the circumstances that are underlying that. Most use cases are in place in that 13 to 15 week time period. As I shared earlier, some of our customers go after multiple simultaneous planning problems. So you do run into a variety of challenges there. You have different data from different sources, broader set of data, more data, maybe some more integration, but Anaplan has a full suite of integration tools, as Ken mentioned earlier. Our customers generally find that technology very easy to use. And that's the end of the question. So I think for today, we are finished. We appreciate your attendance and interest in Anaplan. There's a number of things that you can review on our website, and specifically if you want to look at supply chain management, some of those demonstrations I had shared with you earlier, go to anaplan.com/solution/supply chain management. Thank you for your time today. I hope you have a great afternoon. Good day.
Thank you.